Here are 5 ways to make money as a writer, and these are all things that I have done. The first way is to work as a digital content producer for either a news station or a website. You go online to, I don't know, any of your favorite sites, you're going to see copy or text. That has to have been created by a writer. So a lot of times companies will hire digital content producers, or in other words, writers, to create that content. And it can be text. It's mostly text, but also it can include other media, like you might have to talk into a camera or film things with your camera, and then or take pictures and then upload that online. So that's why the title is not just writer, but it's digital content producer. Places that you can look for that kind of job is at your local news station, because all local news stations have websites, and the people who write the scripts for the news anchors are not the same people, generally speaking, hopefully not, who write the news stories on the website, because that's a whole nother job. And that could be your job as a digital content producer. Or, like I said, you can just go to various websites, like some of the websites you frequent, and see if they're hiring for writers or digital content producers. Another way to make money as a writer, too, is what I just mentioned earlier, to work as a television news producer. That is something I did, and I was surprised that I got to do that. It was pretty cool. You basically write scripts for the news anchors to read on television, but it's a lot more than that. Basically, really, the producer has a vision for the way they want their maybe half-hour or hour-long television show to look, and they collaborate with their director and with the editor to make sure that their vision can be executed. Because the director might say, you want a what kind of shot? Like if you want a shot that the camera's gonna swoop down and do all this crazy stuff, the director would probably be like, no, we can't do that. Um, or maybe if you want the editor to do something really fancy, some kind of cut that's super fancy, you can talk to the editor about that. So it is a little bit more than writing. It's actually a lot more than writing. But the main job that a television news producer does is they write a script for the television news show, um, and they coordinate like any interviews that they want to include in that show. So that means having a good, keeping a pulse on what's going on in your local community, and making contacts and kind of putting yourself out there to get to know people so that you can call them in for interviews. That makes for interesting television. And also, it does involve working effectively with reporters and with news anchors. And reporters and news anchors have a tough job, especially reporters who are out in the field, because they are live on television trying to look good while they're like outside of a shooting, or outside of standing outside in crazy weather or something like that. So it's really important for the producer, it falls on their shoulders to make sure that the reporter looks good and knows what they're talking about and has the most updated or most recent information. That's actually the reporter's job too, but really the producer is supposed to be on top of that too. So being a producer is tough work, and it doesn't pay the greatest, I will say, but it is good experience for anyone interested in writing, interested in journalism, or being a showrunner for any kind of television show, whether you eventually want to be working like in Hollywood or something. Being a producer of a live morning, well, I did morning news show will definitely teach you a lot about how to interact with people and get things done quickly. So it's a pretty great job, even though the pay does kind of suck. A third thing that a person can do if they want to be a writer is work as a freelance writer for magazines that pay contributing writers. I did this a few times, and I will say I only made usually about like $75 to $80 per article, but it was $75 or $80 more than what I had before. And it was also a really great experience just to see how that worked. So there are some some like blogs and websites, especially online magazines like Essence. I believe they pay contributing writers. Um, and there's one called Introvert Dear. It's a site that's especially for introverts, obviously. And they do occasionally pay freelance writers for like contributing articles. So that might be something you want to check out. Now, a fourth option for a writer is to write novels and then advertise the heck out of them. Because just writing a novel and then self-publishing it is not going to guarantee making money, which I do have a video about that, and I will put that at the end of this one so you can watch that if you want to. But writing novels can be lucrative if you market effectively, market and advertise effectively. Um, I have a few that I've written and some more back there. But another thing that I've started doing, and this isn't included in the 5 tips, but I also started helping other people write and publish their books. For example, some of these books behind me are the people who I've helped. Like this one, Miss Susie Shepherd, she just wrote this children's book and published it, and we had our book launch party last Friday. Um, and then we had Ramona Thomas. She wrote this children's book and published it. And she's working on her second book right now. We just had a little marketing meeting about it last night. And then H.C. Peoples, she wrote and published, self-published this book, Loving Grace. It's a romance novel. So that's another way that you can get some extra money, like by writing your own novels, making sure you market and advertise them very well so that you get those royalties coming in. Because after a while, if you write like a series of books, like that's what I did. I wrote a 6-part series, it's a young adult series. Um, and if you do that and you market your books very well, you don't have to write any other books for the rest of your life because can just get royalties from that series forever. So a fifth and final way to make it a little extra money on the side is to blog and get paid through ads on your blog. And you can set up those ads through Google, or you can create your own ads and charge people for however much you want to have an ad on your website. The only thing is you want to make sure that your blog gets a lot of traffic. Because nobody's going to want to put an ad on a website that doesn't have any traffic. So it may take a few months, maybe like 6 months or so, maybe a little less, for your website to start getting heavy enough traffic for you to get the kind of ads on it that will be lucrative. So those are just 5 examples of some ways that you can make some money as a writer. It's not the most lucrative job in the world, but it is fun. There's this famous quote by Steven Spielberg where he says, "I dream for a living." And when you think about it, that's not just something a director in Hollywood gets to do. It is something that a writer who is a nobody like me gets to do. Um, these books that I've written and the others, they haven't made that much money, to be honest, because I have not marketed and advertised them effectively. That's something I'm trying to change now. But I still don't regret writing them because not only did I make a little bit of money, but more importantly, it was just so much fun to escape this world for a little bit and create my own world and tell stories that nobody else but me can tell. And that's something that you can do too if you want to be a writer. Uh, just share your imagination with the world for a little bit. Okay, well, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like. And if you have other suggestions about work that writers can do, please leave those in the comments too, because us writers, we're poor, we're always looking for work. And feel free to subscribe to my channel if you like. Thanks.